Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about changing tires. And I know it doesn't seem very math related, but there actually is a point to all this. Now, the first thing I want to ask you is if you ever looked at your tires before, you'll notice that you have these measurements right here. Okay? And all those measurements are actually the dimensions of how wide the tire is, how tall the tire is, so on and so forth. And of course, it gets cut off here because of the picture, but the question was, what do these letters slash numbers mean on a tire? And so this is what a little decode chart to kind of decode everything. And I'm going to zoom in because it is kind of hard to see. And I have a picture here to help us out. All right, so hopefully this will all fit for the most part. Okay, the very first number is the width of the tire. Okay, and so in this case, this is 205 millimeters. Now, what the width of the tire is, by using this picture here, actually, let's see if I can pull this up. All right, the width of the tire, what that means is basically how fat the tire is, so to speak. And so that means using this tire right here, it's everything from here all the way down to right there, how fat the tire is. Okay? Now, the next number is the aspect ratio, and this actually 60 represents a percent. Okay, and the percent of the aspect ratio, it's a comparison between how fat the tire is compared to how tall it is. Now, using my mouse here, what I mean by how tall the tire is, that means everything from here all the way to here. So the top of the wall, or I'm sorry, the top of the tire all the way down to the rim. Okay, and so there's a comparison, and what it's saying is by this 60% ratio is that the height of the tire, this little sidewall height here, is 60% of the thickness of the tire. And we'll talk more about that throughout the video. Now, as we keep moving, this 16 here stands for the wheel diameter. And the wheel diameter is basically the rim diameter. That's what it meant. So everything from the rim, going back to this picture here, everything from here all the way down to there. And I always like to say the diameter is like an equator of a circle. Well, that's what it is with the rim. It is basically the line from the top to bottom. Okay. Now, also, we have some more information dealing with like speed rating and load index. We're not going to mess with that. So the only thing we're really going to be talking about is going to be the 205, the 60, and then that's it. All right, so let's do a couple of problems. Okay, so here is my first problem. I have a tire that is 265 millimeters fat or wide, so to speak. And so the very first question is, what is the width of my tire? Oh, that's 265. That's easy. That's the one that they just give to you. Okay. The next question is the aspect ratio, which is this number right here. And this is 75%. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to find one of the sidewall heights. And so what I mean by that is from here to right there. We need to see how tall that is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 75 and multiply it to the 265. And so when I do that, I get 265 times 0.75. Remember to convert it. And I get a sidewall height of not 198.8 millimeters. Okay, now here's the problem is with millimeters, is that the rim diameter, I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the rim diameter. It is this last number in the size, which is 18. Well, this is the rim diameter is in inches, the sidewall height is in millimeters. And so what we have here is a difference of measurements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the sidewall height to inches. And the way I do that is by using this little ratio, and that is 1 inch. Let me, 1 inch is equal to 25.4 millimeters. Okay, and so by using this ratio, when I convert, I'm going to take the 198.8 and then I'm going to divide it by the 25.4. And so when I do that, divided by the 25.4, I get 7.8 inches. And so what that means is, going back to my little picture here, is my one sidewall height is 7.8. Okay? My rim height from here to here is 18 inches. But if you notice the overall height of the tire, that's everything from the top of the tire all the way down to the ground. Now please remember, you still have one sidewall height that you need to figure out, and of course it's going to be 7.8. And so when I add all of this up, I get an overall height of 33 point, we'll just say 6 inches. Okay, so that means from top all the way bottom is 33.6 inches. Now, the last thing that we need to figure out is the circumference. And so the circumference is going to be the height of the tire times, here's my pi sign, times pi. And so when I multiply 33.6 times 3.14, I get a circumference of 105.7. And what the circumference means is every time the tire rotates, I would have gone 105.7 inches. All right? Let's try another one. Okay, so here's my next one. Now, if you need to pause the video and you go ahead and figure it out, please do so. All right, so the width of the tire is going to be 205 millimeters. Okay? The next thing is the aspect ratio. And remember, if you need to pause the video, feel free. It's going to be 60%. Now, the height of one sidewall is, once again, I'm going to take 60% and multiply it by 205. And when I do that, I get 123 millimeters. Okay? But remember, we're in millimeters. We really need to be in inches. So I'm going to use my conversion chart here, and I'm going to take 123 and divide it by 25.4. And when I do that, I have one sidewall height of 4.8. I'm rounding. So that means in my picture, from here to here is 4.8 inches tall, so to speak. And then from here to here is also will be 4.8 because the sidewall is the same all the way around. The rim diameter, that's easy. Well, that's just right here. And it's always in the size, and that's 15. So if I was going to do a measurement from here all the way down to here, this is 15. So the overall height of the tire is going to be a total of 24 inches. So from here all the way down here is going to be 24.7 inches. So this is going to be 24.7. And the last thing is the circumference, which circumference is, I have my formula still right there. You multiply the height times pi, and I just used 3.14, and I got 77.5 inches. And so once again, what that means is if I was to let the tire roll one full revolution, that means my tire or my car would have traveled 77.5 inches. And that's how you figure out tires. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching.